Kilo Alpha 0 Sierra Alpha Bravo KA0, same as before.
Same as before. What's the name there?
Same as before. What's the name there? Name here is Harold, Hotel Alpha Romeo, Oscar Lima Delta, running ICOM 7800. We're just running, about 150 watts out of it on a inverted V that is literally up through the trees.
Beautiful signal. Whereabouts are you?
Beautiful signal. Whereabouts are you? I'm over here in Missouri, and like I say, we're running the ICOM 7800 and the Heil Pro microphone.
Roger, Roger. And tell me about your antenna system there.
The antenna is just an inverted V. It's a MFJ 10 through 80. The 80 portion, of course, runs off the coils on the end, and I have it strung out through the trees at the current time. Just put up a 200-foot tower here because we're running internet through the system here, and getting ready to hang the antennas off of that tower off to one side there, about 6 foot away from the tower, and then out.
Roger, Harold. Well, gosh, we could fatten that signal up just a little bit if you might be interested.
Yeah, I guess we could try it.
All right, starts off with just a token amount of compression, a 3. A 3 out of 10, a 30 out of 100. Just a third of the capabilities of that compressor starts us on our way, Roger.
Okay, well, it's on wide. I'll have to go in here and set it up, but yeah, I didn't even look to see where this compression was set on this one yet.
Roger, yeah, I was looking at you when you were talking. I'm looking at your signal on a VU meter, and you know, I'm trying to set a level at 0, and then there are excursions going past 0, which indicates that your dynamic range is more than, say, 3 dB, and that 3 dB is kind of a perfect amount ballistically to fatten that signal up. So if you are, well, can you check and see what your compression is?
Yeah, give me just a second here. Right now it's, by the way, right now it's set on mid-range, but I can double check and see what it's set at.
All right, you want to run your radio at the widest wideband possible, like 100 to 2900, Roger?
No, Roger. I get out here at night and get to work with guys, and I punch it, and I don't ever look to see what I've got it set at. I did stick it up here on the white portion now.
Roger, because that's really important. And when they're when they're contesting, you know, you shoot yourself in the foot when you restrict your bandpass, because the first thing that suffers when you go, you know, off your wide scale, the first thing that suffers is the top end audio, and there is all of your clarity, you know, and you want to be in as wide as possible. Now I say that and I'm talking about 100 to 2900. I know there are wider possible band passes, but I'm specifically saying that I think 100 to 2900 is ideal.
Well, that's understandable. Yeah, it would. It worked very, very well. If I get some of these guys on here, so at night we talk to guys that I've been talking to for over 30 years, and one of them will say something, and then I'll change something, and then not even think about it before I shut down before the night then.
Roger. And then after we get that compressor on a 3, then we move to the ALC. And what you want to do on the ALC is, with mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC to where you're running a mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC, the sweet spot being halfway between the mid-scale and 2/3. Roger?
No, Roger. Well, we're, let me see, I've got it set on ALC now, and I can set that up. I was talking to Bob. I know Bob pretty well, Bob Heil. And we kind of set a few things up here, and then that's been quite a while back. I just haven't messed with it. You know, you get so busy with life, you don't pay attention to what you're doing here. And I thought in my retirement years I would slow down a little bit, but I sure have not done that yet. Age here is 69 and a half there.
You're a whippersnapper. Yeah, that ALC is important set that way because that is what actually determines your dynamic range. If you're below that, then your dynamic range becomes elongated. You know, if we say that average speech without processing has a 10 dB dynamic range, which means that there's a difference of 10 dB between the lightest words that you speak and the strongest words that you speak ballistically, or, you know. So what we want to do for broadcast, for radio transmissions, is try to close that dynamic range and fatten it up a little bit, so you know, you arrive at possibly twice as loud as you would if you had a 10 dB dynamic range. So anyway, after it's all said and done, the ideal thing is that your dynamic range is about 2.5 to 3 dB, and your average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. That's a nice fat signal without any kind of sounding like you're up against the wall or distortion or anything like that.
No, Roger. Yeah, very understandable there. And I'm running just a little bit high on my there we go. Let me get it up here where I've got it just about, it's about peak where I think it should be right in there.
Roger, the hardest thing to do is set the ALC without, quote, setting the ALC. Hello, just 1, 2, 3. You know, that's the hardest part, is just to capture it. I guess, you know, one way you could do it is just kind of look at the ALC meter, not stare at it, but kind of just catch it in the bottom of your, or in the top of your eye vision, and just kind of adjust it there, so you don't really pay attention to what you're doing. And you know, because what you want to do is set that ALC at your very natural mic situation, you know, where you're on axis to the microphone, but you're not, like, quote, setting the level. You just, you know, adjust it for where it reads mid-scale to 2/3 as you speak. We do another thing with like watt meters. If you have a watt meter that's within your view as you're speaking on your microphone, if you move that watt meter to PEP, and then look at it as a VU meter, and as you're speaking, and what you want to do is to keep that needle on the watt meter at the just that right sweet spot, you know, and that has to do with the volume that you speak, and also the rate that you speak. If one talked like that meter is going to fall down between words. But if you're just speaking like normal, that meter will just hang up there, you know. And so as you're watching that meter, you're cognizant of the fact that you want to offer the best possible signal, and you bring from yourself your abilities to keep that meter, you know, up there, along with your radio's capabilities. Roger?
Oh, Roger. Yeah, I'm running an ALC right now. Oh, my LC's running about 3/4 the way up right there, so it's not doing too bad. And yeah, you're right. You've got to catch it in between the drops, or instead of everybody wondering what the peak is, you know, which is the wrong way to look at it. So thoroughly understand that.
Roger. So now, as I'm looking at your audio on my VU meter, I'm seeing it's set for 0, and every peak comes right to 0. There's no blow-by, no pass-through. 0 is the limit point, and your radio is coming to that point each peak. Roger?
Oh, Roger. Good deal. Well, it's, you know, like I said, sometimes at night I operate late at night, and get talking to guys on 75, 80 meters, and we're sitting there yakking away, and one guy will say something, and I'll make an adjustment, and then not even think about it the next day when I get on. But I sure love the rig. I've had it for a long time, and it seems to do a good job. A lot of the guys are buying a 7300, and they're a sweet sounding radio. Really do a fantastic job.
Roger. I'm copying you right as we speak on a 7300. I'm set up with 2 receivers. On my input selector, I'm running the 7300 in the evaluation, and my normal radio is the YEASU FT990, and so they're I have a 6-position rotary input selector for audio, 2 radios plus 4 internet SDRs, and then I have a what do we call it? We call it a visual input source indicator, which is 6 lights on a pad with the names of what they are. So as I switch my input selector, the lights go and represent where we are visually. So when folks look back on our Qso-Vlog video, they'll know exactly where I was at the time because of the indicator. Roger.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, that's great. And those things do a fantastic job. I love them. I do a lot of work here. I've got 5 repeater systems, and I've set them all up, and I carry a lot of equipment here to set stuff with. And the worst thing I do is a lot of times I don't set my own. I'm too busy trying to get everybody else or whatever, and then I kind of neglect my own. That's my own fault, but sometimes it does happen. Anyway, okay, I know you're busy, trying to get out of there about 5 o'clock, and I believe I'm going to jump in the pickup, run up to the town up here, and catch my son-in-law. Sounds like he's going to put a ton of wood pellets in the back of my pickup for our wood stove there, so we've got good heat. But hope you had a good holiday. Thanks a lot for bringing that to my attention, and I appreciate it. You're sounding great down here. Good audio all the way through. Maybe one of these days I'll hook up an amplifier there. I don't know. KA0SAB.
Well, you're 10 over. You're 10 over right now on my 990. 10 over. You know, like I say, I run really light RF gain in the front end so as not to suck up noise between words to keep it out of AGC compression. And so what I'm left with is looking at residual noise levels after I set 0 level for voice peaks. That which is left after they cease speaking is my residual noise level, and you are 10 dB over my residual noise level. And I found that it does interpolate very close to like 10 over S9, Roger.
No, Roger. Well, you're doing a great job. It sounds good. And sounds like you've got it set up just perfectly. So there's no problem there at all. Good sound radios there. I'll say that for it.
Roger, thank you, sir. And if you would be interested, we are recording this and have been since 3:30. And if you would want to hear your audio, which is just really nice, if you went to YouTube and did a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that would take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And you'll be looking for one QSO in specific, and that would be one entitled My Group Air Check 122719. 122719, My Group Air Check. Roger?
Roger. I sure appreciate that. We'll have to go through that and look that up there, so and see what it sounds like. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Again, hope you had a good holiday, and a Happy New Year to you there. And we'll see if we can listen around and catch you again sometime. KA0SAB, Harold here, down in southwest Missouri.
Roger, Harold 3 Z-Way, sir. Thanks for checking in. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. Love to have you. And with that, we will wrap up our Qso-Vlog network for Friday afternoons. We have been recording since 3:30, and so we will post the whole hour and a half up on YouTube within the next couple of days. And for those that participated or are interested, if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and look for well, you would go to YouTube and then do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And we're running about 870 some odd recorded QSOs at this point, but you'll be looking for one specifically called My Group Air Check 122719. My Group Air Check 122719. And with that, we will return the frequency to normal amateur radio use. And we'll say hasta la vista. If you get a chance, join us next Friday afternoon at 3:30. This is KC9VKV. We'll be clear.